Hello all the faculties. Welcome to FDP on Pedagogical Methods for Outcome-Based Education System. As NEP 2020 is implemented in engineering education, we the faculties from engineering stream have to change our teaching methodology. In view of this scenario, we are discussing various pedagogies. The topic for today's discussion is learning space. As can be seen in the title, it is related to teaching learning process. In the changed educational scenario, the roles of teachers and learners are drastically changed. Hence, we are required to discuss on a topic which was not predominant earlier. As can be seen from the picture on the title slide, the learning space has changed significantly due to technological advancements. We the teachers should accept this change positively so that the learning becomes productive. Let us start the discussion of the topic with some terminologies. Pedagogy. It is nothing but method and practice of teaching. So basically it is related to teaching process. Its method. It is also art and science of teaching, as we are teaching human beings, not machines. There are some more terms which are frequently coined related to the term pedagogy. There are 7 P's. So 7 terms starting with the letter P. We will be focusing more on the term personalize. Here we will be discussing personalized learning space. This is what is the current requirement of the learners. There are another set of terms, 5 C's of pedagogy. Out of that, we will be focusing on collaboration, that is collaborative learning spaces. There are 7 types of learnings which are mainly discussed in teaching learning process. Now, before we actually get into the pedagogy, that is the teaching methodology, we need to focus on how the learning takes place, because that is what is the ultimate outcome. There should be learning. Only teaching is not sufficient. Hence the term teaching and learning is actually used in collision. Now, in the current educational scenario, we see mostly the digital version of the systems. So education system is not exception to this current scenario. So learners are expecting the teaching process should be more utilizing the digital space. They are digitally native. Students also expect active and hands-on learning. They expect personalized learning, as we have referred to the term from the 7 P's, that is personalized learning as per their personal choices, personal interests. They can learn, which is very well supported by NEP 2020 in the form of elective subjects or elective courses. Students are provided with a variety of elective subjects by NEP. So for these changes, learner goals, these changed learner goals, we need to design new learning spaces. Hence this topic. Now, the teaching learning process comprises of 3 main modules, that is pedagogy, space, and technology. Now, before we delve into the details of these modules, let us see a quote which exactly resembles this scenario. We spend a lot of time trying to change people. The thing that is more required or to do is to change the environment, and people will change themselves. Now here by people we mean teachers and learners, and by environment we mean learning space, which is the topic of discussion today. Now, as per this quote, which is very famous, we expect learners to be participative, but our experience is not so positive, which is the case of teaching learning process nowadays. One of the reason can be we are not working on the aspect that is learning space or environment of learning, which is the need of time, I think, and that's why we are discussing this topic in this FDP. Now, coming back to the teaching learning framework, it can be discussed in many ways. We shall be discussing it in three ways, or we can say three versions, which are evolved over the years due to various changes in the education system. This is the first version where pedagogy takes the key seat. As can be seen, there is a correlation. It is a cyclic structure as shown in the diagram. Pedagogy, space and technology, they are interrelated. But pedagogy is taking the driver's seat in this particular framework, and this particular framework is more teacher centered, which was suitable for previous education system. Let us see the second version, which includes one more dimension, that is user or learner, along with the pedagogy, space and technology. In this version, as can be seen from the diagram, the technology is on the driver's seat. It facilitates use of space and enhances pedagogy. Here the learner occupies a central position, which is perfectly in line with the learner-centric approach. In the third version of the teaching learning framework, interrelations between behavioral characteristics and technological characteristics is considered in context of functional spaces. This model can be implemented provided certain prerequisites are met, such as dynamic education system, formal and informal way of learning, availability of latest technologies. These are presented as assumptions or prerequisites of this model. The main requirement of this model is dynamic and adaptive nature of participating entities, that is teachers and learners. In the technology driven education system, the roles of teachers and learners cannot be distinctly separated. They have to play interchangeable roles such as learners, mentor and tutors. Now, in this framework, the first level depicts the educational spaces. Second level depicts the characteristics of participants. And the third level includes technology in learning. As can be seen from the diagram, if you traverse the diagram from top to bottom, row wise, we can see these levels. And understanding different learning spaces is important to exhibit personalized learning experience, which is the ultimate need of today's learners. Now, there can be various types of learning spaces, especially in higher education. As we all are engineering faculties, we have to focus on the higher education systems. So these are the three main types of learning spaces: physical, virtual and hybrid. Now, physical and virtual spaces can be further divided into formal and informal learning spaces. Now, this is the available choice with the teachers. A well-designed learning space can improve both cognitive as well as affective learning, and it also facilitates the third learning domain, that is psychomotor. Now, in teaching learning process, basically we deal with three domains: cognitive, affective and psychomotor. Now, if the learning space is well designed, we can highlight the cognitive domain as well as affective domain, because we are humans, we have emotions. कोई भी चीज़ जब हम दिल से करते हैं तो बहुत अच्छे से करते हैं, ये हम हमेशा बोलते हैं. So in teaching as well as learning process, it is applicable. So if the affective domain is included, obviously the quality of learning as well as teaching will improve without a doubt. So that particular domain depends upon the learning space, the learning environment. So this particular domain is not considered much earlier, but now it is the requirement that we have to focus on this aspect of learning also. So in that case, the learning space design will affect this type of learning domain. So there can be some specific learning spaces with the inclusion of technology. These are the major types of learning spaces, but with the inclusion of technology, there can be some specific learning spaces. So let us discuss them. So formal and informal, we have already seen, or we are habituated to these types of learning spaces. Formal means classroom spaces, and informal means spaces beyond the classroom in the form of discussion and in the form of activities outside the classroom. So these two types are known to us, which can be used in designing various types of physical as well as virtual learning spaces. But because of the inclusion of technology, there are some more spaces available. One of them is active learning classes or active learning place, where the learners centered and technology rich activities are carried out. So this is a new addition to the learning space available with the teachers. Now flexible learning spaces, it refers to the provision of multifunctional spaces. So it involves various aspects. Next is innovative learning environment, ILE. It combines the space and technology with collaboration in teaching and curriculum. So as we can see, the learning spaces are involving various aspects from the teaching learning process, not only the physical space, but the technical space as well as some other aspects from the teaching learning process. Now, the inclusion of NEP 2020 has introduced drastic change in teaching learning methods. It demands outcome-based learning. Earlier, it was input, process, output. We were more focusing on the process part, and whatever output was generated, it was accepted. But now the scenario has changed. We have to deal with outcome based learning, outcome based education system. We have to define the outcomes, that is the result, prior, and as to get that result or to achieve that outcome, we have to design our own processes. Rather, a flexibility is provided in the process aspect. So students are given liberty to decide whichever process they want to apply. The only thing is, outcome is predefined, the target is set. So they have to achieve the target, whichever process, obviously ethical and legal, but whichever process they feel suitable. So that is what is the changed scenario. So these changes require new generation of learning spaces with different strategies. So that is what is, because of this changed teaching learning scenario, we require different learning spaces to be designed. So academic learning spaces can transform the teaching practices, and which is the need of NEP 2020. Now in engineering stream, the design of learning space is more predominant, as the learning is expected to attain professional level. Engineering being the professional course, it is expected to achieve specific outcomes. Now for that, we need to develop different learning spaces for the students. A conscious effort on the part of teachers is required to simultaneously engage the students both online as well as face to face. So this is one of the challenges in the current scenario for the teachers, but that is the requirement. We have to accept it and work accordingly if the specific outcomes are to be met by our learners. So this is a part to be focused by the engineering teachers. And the design of learning space will involve various aspects, such as the changing social patterns, uh, generalized change, that is personalized learning is expected. Then funding environment might change. New emerging technological advancements is the key factor in designing the learning spaces also. So technology mediated learning spaces are to be designed. This is the need of time. We the teachers, being from the old school of thought, might take some time to accept this change, but that is the requirement of the time. So the design of learning spaces will involve certain aspects. Now, it should motivate learners and promote learning as an activity. So, this should be the main motive while designing the learning space. It should be supportive, collaborative, and formal as well as practical. So it should provide a personalized and inclusive environment. So these are the requirements of a learning space which we are going to design for our current learners. Now this process is not actually one time activity. It is a continuous process which we need to revise every now and then as per the requirement. The design of learning space needs to be explored as a process. So it's not a one time activity. So it is not as a final predetermined product. So every time it goes evolving. We need to be adaptive. We being the teachers, we are the designers of the learning spaces. So we need to be continuous in this process. So basically design of learning space is to be considered as a process rather than a product. Now there are benefits of these learning spaces. It will increase the student participation, which is the global challenge nowadays faced in the educational system. Students are not participating, students are not attending, whether we are rather designing various activities for them. So we need to make a slight change. Along with activities, we have to design the required learning spaces also, where the students or the learners will be performing those activities. Then individual and group learning opportunities simultaneously. Because of the dynamic nature of the learning space, it can include individual as well as a group. That is what is expected. Then the learning space will motivate the learners to share and discuss information with their peers. That is nothing but collaborative approach. It also promotes decision making and accountability. Accountability is required in every professional. So we have to imbibe this quality in our students, engineering students. In near future they will be transforming into professionals, so they should be responsible as well as accountable for the action they are performing. So this aspect is also required for an engineer, and with a well designed learning space, we can imbibe this property in our learners. The learning space contributes to the development of students' self-confidence also. When they perform confidently, the results will be far more better. Now these spaces allow students to easily adapt to different situations and challenges. Now in the changing scenario, the rate of change is tremendous. So every time new challenges are being faced, even by the teachers and by the learners. So if the learning space is dynamic, the students will be able to adapt with the changes and the challenges easily. So that is also one of the benefit. Then new learning possibilities can arise new pedagogies or teaching methods can be developed with the changes in the learning spaces. Now, flexibility in space, location and resource, this is required nowadays. If a student is unable to come to college to attend the lecture, he should be able to attend it online. So that is what is required nowadays. So this is this flexibility of learning. Then opportunities for learners to approach experts. Because of the digital domain, we can access faculties far away, rather from here sitting in a small city. We can access the lectures, video lectures, with the help of digital medium of some experts which are very far away, which may be present globally anywhere. So that is another benefit of this digital learning space if it is effectively designed. Now, there will be space for instruction, presentation and discussion. This is another aspect which will be provided by well designed learning space. So these are the various benefits available of given by the newly generated learning spaces, which are dynamic in nature. Now, we being the teachers, we are actually on the crossroads right now. NEP 2020 is implemented for first year and second year engineering students, whereas third year and fourth year is still using CBCS mode. The new innovative learning spaces demand both physical as well as online mode of operation simultaneously, which is termed as the hybrid learning space. There are challenges in both the learning spaces, that is traditional learning space, classroom learning space, as well as the hybrid learning space. Now the question arises, which one to follow? Now, in a dynamic system, the obvious answer to this will be trade-off. Now, what does it mean? The main motive of these learning spaces is to facilitate personalized learning. So personalized learning, that is individual requirements of the learners are to be satisfied. Now, from the discussion so far, we can rather jot down the challenges of the traditional spaces as well as the hybrid spaces. In traditional spaces, there is lack of personal space, which is very much required in the personalized learning requirements of the current learners. The large class sizes were another challenge in the traditional learning space. It was more teacher centered. The pedagogy was fixed, so that created some limitations. Then seating arrangement was also not that much easy, or what you can say, that was fixed, so it was not dynamic. Now, it was using chalk duster method, so outdated audiovisual equipments were used in the traditional learning spaces. Now, hybrid spaces involve the use of digital medium along with the traditional learning spaces, but still they also have certain challenges. Lack of interpersonal communication because of the virtual connection between teacher and learner. There is lack of interpersonal communication, or there should be rather technology savvy nature of both the entities, teachers as well as learners. Then this interpersonal communication will be facilitated. Then in hybrid spaces, the students may feel left out because there is no physical contact between teacher and learner. Then demanding tasks due to technological advancements. Hybrid learning spaces will be demanding in terms of technology. It may give cognitive overload, that is knowledge overload, which is the problem we are facing in current digital scenario. We have ample of information the finding or scrutinizing that information as per our specific requirements is a challenge. So that is the same with the hybrid learning space also. And it is, as the technology is advancing every now and then, the complexity of the system is increasing. So these are some of the challenges in hybrid learning spaces. But then a teacher has to decide, depending upon the requirements of the learners, which method or which learning space the teacher will be implementing. So obviously there will be a trade off. Some of the factors from traditional learning space and some of the factors from the hybrid learning space have to be merged to design a new learning space. That is what is the requirement today. Now, from the discussion so far, we can very well say that the educational spaces act as a process for the teachers. As per the learning space pedagogy, it is to be discussed and technology to be chosen. So the teacher will be treating the educational space as a process, whereas the learners will be choosing the learning space as per their outcomes, predefined outcomes. That is, the learner will choose a learning space as per predefined outcomes. Now, the teacher's role is to be a facilitator and a tutor regarding the outcomes, how the outcomes are to be defined. Teacher has to help the learner in this aspect, and how to achieve that outcome. So providing learning spaces for achievement of those predefined outcomes is another role of the teacher, and the attainment of outcome will depend on the proper choice of learning space. So this actually highlights the importance of learning space in the changed teaching learning scenario. Now, these are the references that I have used for this presentation. And to conclude with, let us have one more quote. Spaces are themselves agents for change. So changed spaces will change the practice. Now here, practice we mean the learning of our students. So that is the practice we are actually following for the teaching, and by well designing the learning spaces for our learners, our changed learners, we have to be the agent of the change in the form of learning spaces. So with this, thank you all of you for the patient listening. I thank the organizers for giving me this chance. Thank you all of you.